We begin with breaking news. The coronavirus variant found in the United Kingdom has made its way to the United States. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Kayla Burton. U.S. health officials say a Colorado man has contracted this strain of the coronavirus. They say he's in his 20s, he's in isolation with no travel history. Public health officials are now working to identify potential contacts and potential cases through contact tracing interviews. The city of Springfield is ramping up their vaccine rollout plan, preparing to vaccinate first responders against COVID-19 as early as January 11th. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Kayla Burton. Now, there are concerns among some first responders statewide that they won't get the vaccine quickly enough. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live to explain. Audrey?
So local departments of health are going to be tasked with vaccinating all the first responders in their individual towns. There's a fear, however, among first responders that there's too many of them for smaller cities and towns to vaccinate in a timely fashion. Springfield's Health and Human Services Commissioner Helen Carlton-Harris says local departments of public health have been tasked by the state with vaccinating their own first responders against COVID-19. Carlton-Harris says Springfield is preparing to receive their vaccine shipment for the first responders by January 4th and actually administer the vaccine by January 11th. And in order to vaccinate everyone, she says it's likely local health officials won't have to carry the burden alone.
We are looking to partner potentially with AMR or another partner that can assist.
Western Mass News spoke with Richard McKinnon, the president of the Professional Firefighters of Massachusetts Union. His concern is that local health departments in smaller towns won't have the infrastructure to vaccinate their firefighters, in addition to police officers and other first responders, quickly enough.
A lot of the local boards of health, no discredit to them, are just not equipped and understaffed to handle that type of distribution.
His suggestion is to allow the first responders themselves to be a part of the solution.
Over 7,000 of our members are EMTs and paramedics that have the ability and capabilities to administer the vaccine.
Carlton-Harris says that in Springfield, they're currently looking into a location where first responders can go to get the vaccine come January. However, she wasn't able to say the location of that particular site at this time. Live in Springfield, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thanks for that live report. The first veteran residents at the HOLYOKE Soldier Home received their COVID-19 vaccinations today. The first was Robert Ossian. He's 78 years old and a retired second-class airman with the U.S. Air Force. Now, the first step to ending this deadly pandemic, which ravaged the home back early this spring, leading to the death of over 75 residents and criminal charges against members of the home's management. Staff members also at the home will be able to get the vaccine. Turning now to the latest coronavirus numbers in the state over the last 2 weeks. Today, the Massachusetts Department of Public Health reports more than 3,600 new cases of COVID-19. That brings the total number of confirmed cases in the Bay State to more than 346,000. More than 78,000 of those are believed to currently be active, which is down more than 2,400 from yesterday. The state also seeing 58 new deaths. The statewide death toll stands at 11,958. The Martin Luther King Presbyterian Church is boarded up as investigators comb for clues about what or who potentially started the fire. The church is considered a relic of its own in the community, and city leaders say it's a tremendous loss. Western Mass News reporter Sarah Grinelli joins us live with the latest. Sarah?
Kayla, the investigation tonight seems to be wrapping up, but you can see the church is all boarded up, and people we spoke with say they're going to be relying on their faith now more than ever. The spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. Community Presbyterian Church lives on a day after fierce flames tore through the building, leaving just a few important items behind.
We were able to get the Bible off the altar. We saved the cross. We saved a picture of Dr. King. And we saved, I believe it was a picture of the bishop of the church.
Authorities say the fire started early Monday morning, and they are still trying to figure out if someone intentionally set the church on fire. State Representative Bud Williams tells Western Mass News that's something that happened to a Springfield church back in 2008, and 3 people were arrested in connection to that fire.
Many years ago, Macedonia church was burnt down, but they built a beautiful edifice. We're going to come back bigger and stronger.
As for the church fire this week, authorities are investigating it as a possible hate crime. The FBI has stepped in to help. Williams says although the church was left badly burned, it still holds the same values it did 41 years ago, in the name of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
We know that Dr. King's message was always of love, peace, and tranquility, and working with the least of them. Working with the very, very poor people. That's what this church stands for.
Now, it could take some time for investigators to wrap up the investigation. Meanwhile, there is a $5,000 reward for anyone who has information that could lead to a potential arrest. Live in Springfield, I'm Sarah Grunelli for Western Mass News.
Sarah, thanks for that live report. The Jewish Federation of Western Mass is responding to the news with a statement that reads in part, quote, "It is unfortunate that we live in a world where suspicions of hate crimes are so frequently confirmed and reinforced, where acts of hate and domestic terrorism are on the rise, where this evil persists and persists." The statement goes on to say, quote, "Whether by accident or by malice, the damage to a place of worship is profoundly painful."
Well, we saw a cold and dry day here across Western Mass, at least with some good sunshine, but temperatures today struggling to reach freezing in most spots. Tonight, some beautiful skies. Here's the moon as it was just rising over Lake Congamon, and that happened just after 4 p.m. And this photo taken from Liz, so thanks to her for that one. And tonight we do have that moonlit sky that'll stick around pretty much all night long. Just a couple of high thin clouds expected to come in closer to morning. The cold air is the biggest story tonight. We're down to 27 degrees. We still have a solid breeze out of the north at 15 miles an hour, so the wind chill in Springfield is down to 16. Very cold stuff out there tonight. Temperatures have dropped into the lower and middle 20s for the hill towns, and we're still hovering in the upper 20s for the Pioneer Valley, but we are expecting some lower teens for temperatures by sunrise. Wind right now is still sustained at about 10 to 20 miles an hour, but it's not quite as gusty as it was a few hours ago. So we still have a wind chill in the teens, but eventually our temperature will be catching up to those numbers as the wind gets lighter overnight. And again, we do have mostly clear skies now, and we will keep those clear skies into early tomorrow morning. Looking at your evening forecast, 9 p.m. we're down to 20 degrees. By midnight, we are all well into the teens with a lighter wind. And then tomorrow morning, breezes might be calm, but temperatures could dip into the upper single digits to start off the day. We'll have a little bit of veiled sunshine in the morning, and then more clouds will build in for your Wednesday, with wet weather holding off until Wednesday night. We'll talk about what you can expect to see in just a few minutes. Kayla?
Taking you across the state now to Boston, an emancipation statue featuring President Abraham Lincoln has been removed from Boston's Park Square. The statue was driven away on a platform truck this morning. The sculpture is a replica of a statue in Washington, D.C. depicting President Lincoln standing over a freed slave. Officials say it was meant to represent newly emancipated people, but the Boston Art Commission voted unanimously in June to remove it, finding that it still showed the slave as subservient. The move was spearheaded by Boston artist Tory Bullock.
Amazing funeral. I'm here to provide a silent eulogy for this piece of artwork that's been here for 141 years. I am proud, I am black, I am young, and this image has been doing a lot of disservice to African Americans in Boston, and now it stopped.
The Boston Art Commission says the emancipation statue will remain in storage for now. A new work of art is expected to be installed in the future. New at 6, Boston Marathon organizers say they're still unable to confirm a date for the 2021 race because of the state's recent surge in COVID-19 cases. Back in October, this upcoming race was pushed back from April until at least the fall. The 2020 marathon was held virtually due to the pandemic.